So as you can see, my bin of eyeshadow palettes is overflowing. So I'm going to go ahead and lay them all out and then start the decluttering process. So stay tuned. Okay, so this is my entire collection of eyeshadow palettes. So I'm just going to start going through and I'll zoom in where I can. Otherwise, I'm just going to start on this end and work my way across, and I'll tell you what I'm picking up as I go along. We'll start down here first. So first up is a palette from Pretty's For Your Face. It was a limited edition shadow palette inspired by Hamilton, and I never really use it, so I'm going to donate this one. Mare Norman Knockout Nudes. It's a dupe for like the Nakeds palette, so I'm going to keep this one. Here's a palette by Unique, which is a brand that you can only get from a consultant. The colors are really pretty, but I never find myself reaching for it, so I'm going to pass this one along. Too Faced Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar. Honestly, I'm keeping this one because it is a classic, and I like that it's scented like chocolate. I'm going to keep this one. And the peach, I really do like the peach one, but honestly, I'm keeping these just because they're old favorites. Next up, Stila Eyes Are the Window Shadow Palette. This is the body one. I never reach for blue and purple tone shadows, and this one was super, super glittery, so I'm going to pass this one along. These are all my Anastasia Beverly Hills shadows, starting off with the Amrezy shadow palette. This is limited edition and it's not available anymore, but I really love the colors in this one, so I'm keeping this one. The Lavish palette, while I like the colors in it, it's just awkward packaging. I'm going to be donating this one. This is the Self-Made palette. This is one of the first ones I purchased myself from Anastasia, so I'm going to keep this one. Subculture, I recently picked this one up, and I do really like the colors in this. I'm going to keep this. It's a beautiful fall palette. Catwalk, I never find myself reaching for this one. It's a fun palette, but I'm going to donate this one. The Artist palette, I love the bright yellow in this. I'm going to keep this one. Next up, we have 4 palettes from Milani. Gilded Desires is one of the newer ones. It's got the highlighting shades and the regular matte and shimmer shades. I'm going to keep this one. Most Love Mattes. I love those tones. Keeping this. Bold Obsessions. I don't reach for this one as much, so I may donate this one. And Soft and Sultry. This is like my go-to cool tone palette, so I'm going to keep this one. Move on over to the Sephora Pros. I'm going to keep all of these. I think these are all excellent, and I love the color varieties that I get in all of these palettes. There are 6 in total, so I'm going to be keeping all of these. Moving on to the bottom section here, we've got the Tarte palettes. I have the Tarte Lip palette, which looks like this, kind of like an everyday staple. I will keep this one. It's one of the first palettes I purchased myself. And then this one was a holiday promo, holiday limited edition, and it has a bit more shimmer shades to it, so I'm going to keep this one as well. The BH Cosmetics and Daisy Marquez palette I just picked up. You know, obsessed with, so definitely not parting with this one, but I will be getting rid of the Foil Eyes shadow palette. I've had this for years, haven't touched it. The Believe Beauty, recently reviewed this one. It was good quality, but I'd never reached for it. I'm going to be donating this one. 2 collab palettes from MAC Cosmetics. They're the Kabuki Magic one. These are like their super sparkly specialty shadows, and these are just 4 neutral shades. I'm going to keep both because I think these are really good quality. Urban Decay Naked Ultimate Basics palette. I still think this is a really good one. My mirror fell off a while ago. I'm going to keep this one. It's the only Urban Decay shadows that I have right now. I think these are really nice staple colors. Wet n Wild, their newest, Wet n Wild, the newest one to my collection is the Coffin Break one. I love the shadows in this. I am keeping this one. The Plaid to the Bone, which was a limited edition holiday one, which has like this green brown shade, but I'm going to donate this one because I have a similar shade in the Comfort Zone palette, so I'll keep Comfort Zone and pass on this one. Rosé in the Air and Not a Basic Peach are ones that came out recently. I'm going to hold on to both of these for now. Wet n Wild and Pac-Man. I really love the bright colors in here. I'm going to hold on to this one as well. And these two palettes from like the Rose collection, I'm going to pass on this one because I feel like they're very, very dry. But I'm going to keep these because I really like this shimmer shade right here in this palette, so keep and pass. Moving on down here, I have two Marc Jacobs palettes, both of which I think are really nice quality, and I save these for like high-end videos, so I'm going to keep both of these from Marc Jacobs. The NYX Happy Birthday palette that I got from Ulta in 2018 or 2017 for my birthday. It's a really nice quality, but I never find myself reaching for this palette, so I'm going to be passing this one. Some Essence palettes that I've tried recently. This is an old one that I've had in my collection for a while, but I love it. It's the All About Candies, and they're all great highlight shades. I'm going to keep this one. Two of the newer palettes from Essence. This is the Good Day Sydney one and the Hola Rio one. Honestly, I just have a lot of palettes with similar shades. I'm going to be passing on both of these. And then the newer one, the Hollow Wow palette. I think both of these are excellent, but there are some shades in here that aren't in here, so I'm going to keep both of these. And then Never Give Up Your Daydream is all like highlighty, metallic highlight shades, which I think are beautiful. But I can get a lot of these shades in the smaller palette, so I'm going to keep these and pass this one. Okay, I had to reposition the camera to get these palettes in frame. So starting here with the Viseart, I really like the larger ones. This one's probably my least favorite of the large ones, but I love the warm, I love the neutral, and I'm going to keep this one because they have some nice deep colors. But I'm not a big fan of these little Petite Pro palettes. They're just not as impressive to me, so I'll be passing this one along. Winky Lux, which I believe I got in a BoxyCharm. There's one shade in here that I particularly love, which is this one. It's a beautiful like green purple, and that's the reason that I keep it, but I really should give this one another chance. I'm gonna hold on to this one. Mally Muted Muse Rose Gold. This is another really beautiful palette from Mally. I love this pink shade. The highlight shade's gorgeous. It's just a nice like everyday neutrals palette, and I'm gonna hold on to it. Moving on to my Pat McGrath palettes. These are recent purchases, and I'm not willing to part with any of them just yet, so I will be keeping all of these. Becca Volcano Goddess. These are some of the softest shadows I've ever worked with, and I really like this one. I'm going to hold on to this. I don't have any other shadows by Becca. Juvia's Place, the Magic Mini by Juvia's Place. There's some really nice brights in here, but I found this kind of hard to work with. There weren't enough neutral shades to ground my looks, but I'm gonna keep it because it's the only thing I own by this brand. Natasha Denona. I have a couple other palettes in my background in my beauty space right now, but the Tropic palette I'm definitely keeping. And because I have so many similar shades to this in my other larger palettes, I'm going to be passing on this one and keeping all of my other Natasha Denona palettes. CoverGirl, Full Spectrum, whatever you want to call it, they're all CoverGirl brand. These are the ones they came out with recently. I just wasn't impressed by these. I held on to them thinking that at some point I would use them. And honestly, none of them call to me. They're big and bulky, so I'm going to be passing on these. Same with this one. I don't ever reach for these deep colors, so I'll be passing on this one. This little Full Spectrum palette I love for highlighting and for just everyday shades, so I'm definitely keeping this one. I get a lot of use out of this. Same with this Full Spectrum palette. I love the range of browns in here. You have some metallics, some mattes, keeping this one. And then honestly, the quality on these were really, really fantastic. I just want to hold on to these for future videos. I mean, look at that green, that red, this blue, purple, really beautiful colors. All right, starting up here, Kevyn Aucoin Making Faces beauty book. This has contour, it has face, and it has eye. I'm definitely keeping this. This is a really good quality and a really good price for all that you're getting in here. Catrice Professional Artist Eyeshadow Palette. I don't remember it being horrible, but it's just not one that I reach for ever. So I'm gonna pass on this one. The same with this LA Girl one. The metallics in here are beautiful. I mean, look at this beautiful like teal green. Honestly, I think I want to keep this for the metallics. The mattes were not impressive, but these metallics were stunning. So I am going to keep this probably mostly for this color. but it is relatively new to my collection, so I'm not ready to say goodbye just yet. All right, my Revolution palettes. I love my Sophie Does Nails collab palette. This is the Soph X one. It has a lot of really beautiful warm tones. Has a lot of beautiful warm tones with some greens and purples in here. I used this one the other day and I still really enjoy it. These three were part of the holiday collection from Target. I haven't had a chance to play with them much, so I'm gonna hold on to all three of these and make it a point to try these in the next month or so. I mean, look at that LA Girl color. Down. All right, next up we've got Pixi. I have a handful of Pixi products right here. I don't get much use out of this one. This is the Reflex Light palette. They're all metallic and I just don't have much use for an all metallic palette, so I'm going to pass on this one. I really don't use this palette much either, and this is the Festive Eyes Lid Lovelies. The colors are really pretty, but I just don't find myself reaching for it ever, so I'm going to pass on this one. And I will keep this large one, which has more color options to it, which is one of the complaints I've had about Pixi, that they're all orange and brown. At least here there's some purples and some greens. And this one is the Dream Shadow Palette, so I will be keeping this one. And I'm totally obsessed with these glitters, so I will be keeping all three of these. Moving up here, we have the Makeup Addiction Cosmetics Flaming Love Palette. These colors are stunning. I don't reach for them much, but I like that they pop out. I particularly love this brown here. It's like a warm tone brown. I'm gonna keep this one just because this is also one of the first palettes that I purchased myself, and I think it's a really nice one. Morphe and Kathleen Light's collab is a well-loved palette. I am definitely keeping this one. I love supporting Kathleen, and I just think this is a really beautiful palette. And the only thing I own from Morphe. Moving on up here, we've got all of the Smashbox palettes. I really like this large palette because it's got the bright shades in here, it's got the cool shades, it's got pinks, and it's got kind of cool tones up there. So I'm gonna keep this because I think it's a really nice palette. And then I have to open all these to know what's inside. This one's a purple tone one that I rarely reach for, so I'll pass on this one. These brights I love, so I will be keeping this one. These rose gold tones are beautiful, but I have them in so many palettes. I'm going to pass on this one. The fiery shades I'm going to hold on to because they're perfect for fall. And this one, which was the collaboration with the Hood Witch, I really love this kind of, I don't know what you'd call this, like a quarry shade. This blue is gorgeous. I really like the combination of the pinks and the grays here, so I'm going to be keeping this one as well. This palette from Japanesque I've had for a while. I remember really enjoying it. It's face products and eye products, and while they are really beautiful colors, I just don't reach for this ever, and they're all kind of shimmers, so I'm going to pass on this one. Moving on to It Cosmetics. I really love It Cosmetics brand, but I've had these for so long. But they're still really amazing quality shadows. They're just really good and smooth and great for more mature eyes. I'm going to hold on to both of these. The colors are slightly different in these. There's Naturally Pretty and Naturally Pretty Romantic. And then this was the holiday set from a year or two ago with a blush, highlight, and some staples. And honestly, this is just beautiful. So I'm going to hold on to this for the packaging, but the product inside is also really good. All right, first up we have two e.l.f. palettes up here. We have the Mad for Matte Holy Smokes and the Mad for Matte 2. And I don't remember what these look like. Okay, so Mad for Matte 2 is like warm tones. I'll hold on to that one. And Holy Smokes, I believe, had that gorgeous green that I love. Yes, this beautiful green here. So I'm gonna keep both of these. They're like a couple dollars each, so I'm gonna keep them. My Lorac palettes, I am not able to part with any of them because their formula is some of my favorite shadows ever. So we have the Lorac Mega Pro 2, which has purples, peaches, some really nice colors in here. The Lorac Mega Pro 3 has more of like the berry tone ones, which I'm not as much of a fan of, but still I love their formula. The Brunch Date one has a bunch of pastels, which is perfect for spring. The Pro Matte Mini I use a lot. It's like an everyday staple for me. The holiday one, I love this teal, the gold. I just can't bring myself to part with any of these Lorac shadows. I just love the shadow formula. Unzipped, beautiful, kind of cool berry tone metallics. And finally, the Pro Metal one, which I've had forever, and I just love these metallic shades. So, keeping all of my Lorac shadows. Alamar Cosmetics, La Reina del Caribe, Volume 1. It's a beautiful shadow palette that I got in the last year. I'm going to hold on to this one. Really great brand. And now we are directly under my skylight, so my apologies for the glare that you see on some of these. So moving on to Profusion, I have these four right here. The Royals is a beautiful palette. It has 4 mattes in it, and the rest are these beautiful like jewel tones. I really like this palette, and I think it's really nice if you're looking for super intense pops. So I'm going to keep this one. I never reach for the Wanderlust palette. I just don't wear blues and purples much, and I have enough greens in other palettes. I'm going to pass on this one. I have enough warm tone palettes, so I'm going to also pass on Confidence. But I'm going to keep Temptress because of some of these blue teal shades here that's got some warm tones, some cool tones. I'm going to keep this one. We're almost done, guys. Hang in there. ColourPop. Obsessed with both of these. This is like pinks and purples, and this is one of the Kathleen Lights ones that, again, has the beautiful teal that I love. Keeping both of these great quality. The Rimmel Magnifies palettes. I did not love the crimson one so much, or the Wow edition. I really liked the Spice edition, so I'll be holding on to this one. And I really liked these kind of limey shades in here, so I'm going to hold on to this one as well. And finally, we have the Maybelline palettes. I use the Matte Bar all the time. It is one of my staple palettes. Keeping this one. I also reach for this one a ton. This is Brooklyn Nudes. Love this one. I rarely reach for this one, which is more peach tone. This is Cocoa City. I'm going to pass this one along. Really enjoyed the Gigi and the Shayla collab, so I'm going to keep both of these little minis. I rarely reach for an all purple palette, so I'm going to pass this one along. This one is Skyscape Dusk. Whenever I need a great matte green, I go for this one, so I'm holding on to this one, which is Urban Jungle. Honestly, this one's a great fall palette. I used it a lot last year. This is High Rise Sunset. I'm going to keep this one. This one has some beautiful shimmer shades, highlight shades. This one is Rooftop Bronzes. Going to keep that. And I also like this kind of more cooler tone matte palette. This one is Matte About Town, so I will be keeping this as well. So if you guys enjoyed seeing what palettes I am keeping and which ones I will be passing along to others. Hope you enjoyed this declutter video. If you did, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and as always, I will see you in my next video. Bye!